So this is Joe with Joe's talking. I said so because I'm sitting here thinking about the stuff that happens while driving the city bus here in Columbus, Ohio. Do you know people will con me or try to con me and other drivers over $2? And that kind of struck me. It's like, how in the hell do you have a problem with $2? I don't get it. What are they going through? What's going on? And there's supposed to be so many companies or at least jobs here because there's no lack of tourism, which is weird because when I left in '06 and moved out to Vegas, there probably was tourism, but it wasn't like it is now. There's nowhere near. People actually come here to visit. Of course, a lot of them come from other countries, India, China. There's a lot of Africans here, a lot of Somalians, a lot of Hispanic people here, which I'm not saying it's good or bad. I just know that Somalis can't drive. I don't know. I don't know why we give them driver's license because they can't drive for nothing to save their life. They cut you off. They dip out into traffic for no apparent reason, and you're left asking yourself, what the hell's going on? What's wrong with you? And I don't know if it's because they don't have a lot of cars over in Somalia, because of the warlord situation. But there's got to be a good part of Somalia, right? There's got to be something going on. Hey, somebody's got to say, hey, let's go to Somalia. Probably not. I do know that, Eritrea, Somalia, and Ethiopia has had problems. Wars, especially with the little country of Eritrea. That's off the charts, right? I don't know how I went from $2 to Somalia. Anyways, that's my rant. That's what I deal with. In today's world, where most of us are dealing with first world problems, these people that live here are still dealing with the $2 problem. Do you know that people will sit there and wait to get to the bus to get the Wi-Fi so that they can download their payment, through the transit app or whatever? And I'm sitting here speaking probably Japanese to some people who don't know, but it's a transit app that we have, and you can get a day pass, whatever you need, right, to ride the bus. But they got to wait for the Wi-Fi. And I'm thinking, well, this is 21st century. Even Boost Mobile has unlimited data for $60. So I asked the gentleman today, I said, what is it? Is it, you know what? I was serious because I need to know this. How in the world can you not have data in the 21st century? Apparently, the phone, he's listening to music through the phone. It must have been music that he put on the phone. Or maybe he pays for YouTube Premium, gets to a Wi-Fi spot, downloads the music so he can listen to it, which I don't even want to get into because that's mind-blowing to me. Pow! You understand what I'm saying? But it's people who would do that. Anyways, I asked him, and he said, well, when it was on, I got data. Oh, okay, that's the key. He said, but there are still people, that monitor your data. And I'm like, where, who, when, what, why? And I don't know if I've been living in another country the last, I don't know. I still remember the days when you got nights and weekends free. And then you can sit on your cell phone all you want. But, those days were great, right? But now, the 21st century, you don't have to do that. We're in 2025. Do you know in 2017, Running Man, 1987, Arnold Schwarzenegger, There's other people in there. What is her name? I don't know. Off the top of my head, I can't. I don't have the name, but I know Arnold was in it. Arnold. Anyways, that movie was based on food shortages and resource shortages. So they had a media outlet that would keep the people out of the picket lines and the protest lines and so on and so forth. And that got me to thinking. And this is going to round up. I'm gonna circle back. It got me to thinking. That's what's going on now, kind of, sort of, right? Except it's with social media. You got what is this? Meta. You got Instagram. You got Face. Well, no, that's Meta. I don't know. You got all that other stuff. X is actually pretty good. I don't fault X. I don't like the bots on X. Okay, I just don't. But I get it's gonna be everywhere. I don't use the WhatsApp and the Telegram, and that's just, come on. How much stuff do you really need? If you can't call me on the phone and you can't get me on Facebook Messenger, I probably don't need to talk to you. Because if you got my phone number, you should be able to text me. So let's circle back to what I'm saying, because I'm going to get off on a tangent. Some of this stuff is just silly. I asked the guy, and the whole point to the conversation was trying to understand why he didn't have data. And he had to wait to get on the bus to, pay for his fare, the $2 for the fare. What? Apparently he might not be working. Do you know? Let me explain something to you, people. When I left here in 2006, right? It was still maybe $12 an hour at Limited Brands. $12 an hour at Limited Brands. I was talking to a guy that's been there for 14, 15 years the other day. Well, no, it was this past Saturday. And he said now they're making $16, $17 an hour. I said, you got to be out of your mind. $16, $17 an hour. The security at the time and this is after I had gotten out of the police academy, the security were making $12, maybe $13 an hour. Now, I asked him, he said, this is in-house security, of course. They have the ability with overtime to make six figures. And I'm thinking to myself, well, six figures a year, obviously. I'm thinking to myself, well, I can make six figures a year now driving for Coda. But that's 7 days a week, people. And then the overtime is only available in the summer, because you wouldn't believe how many drivers just call off of work because Columbus, Ohio puts everything in the summer. And don't get me started off on that either. I don't get how you pack all this crap into one summer and then you have it all downtown. Do you know how many parks there are around here? Bicentennial Park, which is downtown Columbus, it's beautiful. The downtown is beautiful. But there are other places to have 5Ks, run walks, whatever. That people that have trails and stuff. So the more, what I'm saying is this, and I'm not concluding with this. Why do you have to cajole, hustle people to pay a $2 tab for a bus ride? Anybody have a clue? I don't have a clue. And I would start spewing, proprietary data or information that I know about Coda and the amount that they get from the fare box. But the fact that I said Coda, that's enough. The algorithms are probably going to lead back to me anyways. I'll get fired tomorrow. And it's not really Coda's fault. Coda is a good organization, but like so many businesses, they get so big and I don't want to say it's a business because there's a lot of government stuff attached to it. But what happens is it gets so big, and it's hard for him to jump to the from the mom and pop to a corporation, to a widespread corporation. And I'm not saying they can't do that because they got the people to do that. Our CEO, she's capable of getting, taking those steps. But I don't understand how you have a business and the only way you think is, well, let's do the mom and pop right now. Well, there's got to be a sales cap. Do you do the mom and pop until $1 million? Do you do the mom and pop until a $10 million cap? Right now in Central Ohio, the only way for growth for our city is to annex other cities. Let's think of Phoenix, Glendale, Mesa, Peoria, Sun City. All of those places were at one time suburbs of Phoenix. They were other cities of Phoenix. So now we look at the Phoenix map, and of course Phoenix encompasses all. There's houses everywhere. There's things going on. There's Scottsdale is a drive up up Shade Drive. You go to the Van Buren. You do this. There's so many things going on in Phoenix, and that's how Columbus is going to end up being. Not that it's bad, but it's just like this. It's an outwardly. Anyways, the only growth they're going to have is coming from the out, right? You throw Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon, good movie. You throw a pebble in a lake, the ripples. Same thing here. You throw a big city, the ripples. Of course it's going to go everywhere. And I think a lot of businesses, and I don't want to call Coda a business because that's, just not what it is. Excuse me, I was coughing and had to pause it. Anyways, so to make that jump from the mom and pop and build the infrastructure to something larger, something that will encompass more area and more, just more area, more people, more ridership, more this and that, blah, 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 fairs, grants, money, da, 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 da. You have to make that jump from mom and pop to something serious. But my question is why weren't you thinking serious in the beginning? Every time I think of something and longevity, legacy, something to moving forward, I think of something that's going to turn into something big. And that's what you have to do. You have to think of something that's going to turn into something big. Employees, right? 700 drivers. And, the ridership. There's a lot of great things about Coda. I have no issues at all with Coda. It's the strong expectation on customer service, but no expectation on backing your drivers. That's just what you got to do. And throwing more money at people, while that's good, that's more saying, we'll throw more money at you so you can tolerate it. Excuse me. But we're still not going to have your back. That's not running a business either. Strength in numbers. Everybody heard it. Everybody knows it. When I ran operations for security companies, one of my biggest things when I took on a client was that if we don't have the authority of, or not the authority, if we don't have the backing of the property manager and the office staff within the leasing office, then we're not going to be effective. It's just not going to happen. One of my goals when I ran operations, I wanted to make a significant change in 30 days, an enormous change in 90 days. That was my goal. Because you can build on that, right? You can build on the first 30 days. You can build on the first 90 days in 6 months and a year, so on and so forth. You have to have a goal going into it. You have to understand the group. You have to understand the people. You have to understand the ridership. And that's another thing that kind of threw me off too. This just popped into my head. Why would you do if prior to COVID you did a survey wanting to get rid of the fare box? And then after COVID, ridership obviously is up because things are going back to normal, or are back to normal, or somewhat, or whatever. You give another $300,000 to do the same survey that you did prior. The numbers, the only thing that's changed is that there's no COVID. The numbers didn't change. The ridership and things like that did not change. So that's when you have your internal think tank start working numbers, start getting out there, pressing flesh, meeting the people, talking to the people, things like that. $300,000, that's a lot of money just cause. And it's a lot of money that can be used for other things, whatever. And I'm not bashing Coda. I'm not doing that. I'm just giving examples. And even had this one employer, Global Security Concepts, ran operations. You know what? I don't want to talk about how bad the person was. What I do want to talk about is what I learned from this person. And micromanaging is not a way to do it. Trusting the people that you hire to do a job is of the most importance. That operations manager may approach operations different than anyone else you've seen in order to grow a corporate environment or a corporate, because the name of the game when you're doing contract security is you need clients, but you also need interpersonal skills, so on and so forth, to be able to communicate to your employees, to be able to call John at 3:00 in the morning because Susie called off because her baby's sick, and you need John to go in and work a 12-hour shift or a 15-hour shift. Didn't do the 15, but definitely 12-hour shift. How do you do that? You got to be able to talk to John. You got to be able to know John. And the only way that you know John is because you sat down and talked with him at the interview. You understand Susie's circumstance, right? And I'm not going to sugarcoat this. If Susie continues, you have to let her go. Because at the one point, you got to think, Susie and you can't even ask this question, and it's frustrating. Susie, is Dad at home? If the question is yes, can Dad take care of the baby too? Yes. And that's the difference. That's one of the difference between women and men. The prioritization of work is at the top of the food chain for men because it takes care of everything else. Whereas if you're married and you have a wife, her prioritization is the family and kids. Okay, well, I get that. Stay home. Let me go to work, honey, and I'm going to work these 16-hour days, 5 days a week, 6 if I have to keep us fed. But don't expect me to do too much. with the family because I got to sleep, I got to eat, I got to recuperate, I got to have my mental space of my own. And it's amazing how this conversation just developed. And this is what pops in my head, right? I must be a lunatic. But this is what we go through, people. The mundane, the simplistic silliness of stuff that we go through on a daily basis. I was looking at ironing boards on Amazon. $62 for this iron board. I couldn't find one less than $25. That's outrageous. For what? An ironing board? It's made out of steel. They don't even make it out of aluminum. They're not gonna. Can you imagine if you got an all aluminum ironing board? They charge you $25, turns into $60. Which ironing board do you go to? I don't know. It doesn't matter. They're all $60. And I paid $30 for an iron. I don't know, people. I could have swore that at one time for a good Black & Decker, really good iron, and this isn't even Black & Decker. I don't even know who makes this iron. It's probably made in China. It better not fail me. But I'm saying that to say this. We have got to figure this out. I don't know if the Fed changing rates. I don't know if kids not eating cornflakes. I don't know what fixes it. Apparently tomorrow, Make America Healthy Again, Robert Kennedy Jr., which I think he's doing a good job, and I'm not going to take nothing away from him, is supposed to issue something about helping or curing autism. Hey, there you go. This is Donald Trump's doing. You know what? I have never seen a person live up to every expectation and do exactly what he says within that office. Not one president. If we knew Donald Trump was, okay, let's say Donald Trump was in George Bush Jr.'s position and he said, we have won the war or something like that. Everybody remembers that speech. And I'm not quoting verbatim because I'm just saying we have done it. You know, we won the war. But if it had been Donald Trump, that would have mean that we had Osama bin Laden too. We killed everybody. I don't have a problem with that. I don't. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking. It's going into 23 minutes, and they say the average time is 30 minutes. Excuse the background. I'm not much of a cleaner, and I don't really care, you know? You guys aren't seeing nothing. That's maybe that trash over there on the... It's my right shoulder, but it'll be the left for you people. But it's okay. You know what? I live here. This is my house. You don't like it? You don't have to watch. But I respect your opinion, and I appreciate your conversation. If you want to, like and subscribe. If you don't, that's okay, man. We're just having conversations. We're just talking. And Joe's talking. Take care. I'm not editing anything either. These ones, I'm not editing these early videos. I'm not going to do it. Maybe later. But I want my brain talking. And I'll probably talk about work, but, you know, real quick. I'm taking the Manjaro. I don't know. 2.5 milligrams. And I'm checking my weight. I went from 418 to 391. I don't know. Google AI said that was 26 pounds. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you on the Manjaro hotline. And as usual, Joe is talking. Like and subscribe.